Good morning. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey, and today is Friday, November 2020. Boy, it's going faster and faster this year. Yes, I'm in bed right now. It is 1:11 a.m. in the morning. Yep. Oh, boy, I got up. I awakened, I should say, not too long ago. I was just lying here in bed. Yes, I got my crew with me too. That's my little girl, Lily, the Havanese. That's my other little girl, Lilac. And Labby boy. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Yes, this is Spirit Journey, and I'm in my room, my bedroom, and wow, I didn't realize the time. I thought it was later on. I thought it might have been maybe 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. Yeah, I awakened maybe around, it must have been around 12:30. And I was just in bed and I was thinking, yeah, this season, the fall weather, I love going to bed when it starts to get dark, you know. It's like at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. I have my dinner or whatever. And I love going to bed early. Just relax. I might read or just relax in bed and then fall asleep. And that's what happened yesterday. Yeah, I think I went to bed around 6:30 p.m. yesterday, Thursday evening. And so, early to bed, early to rise, right? Yeah, that's what happened. And so, yeah, I see what time it is because I don't have a clock that uh, you can see in the dark. I do have a mechanical clock, and it's the wrong time. That one there, it's the wrong time. That was a mechanical clock, so you'll hear it in the background. Uh, yeah, I don't even notice the sound anymore. But when I play back the video, then I can hear the ticking, and it could be distracting. So I apologize for that. Yeah, let me know if the audio is okay. I have my mic on. I know my voice is a little soft. So I have the mic, that's um, part of my ear set. So I have that on, and so hopefully you can hear me clear enough. So I want to talk about two things out there. I want to talk about. Well, I had another vision. Um, so that was yesterday evening when I was taking a little nap in bed. Yes, hi Francine. Shalom, I like the time. Yeah, it seems like the world slows down. Yeah, I love it, Francine. I love it a lot. And why I like it is because you can get a lot of thinking done. It's like winding down for the day. You go over the things that you experience, what you feel, and I'm very much, well, I like to think that I'm um, connected with nature. See, when nature goes to sleep, shouldn't you go to sleep too? Yeah. So it's your body getting into the groove of things, your body winding down for the day, and it's so natural. You go to bed early, you wake up early. And yeah, so so it's about 7 hours since I went to bed. So yeah, after about that amount of time, you wake up, right? So that's all of what happened. Yeah, I'll mention about the vision first. It was real brief, and then I'll talk about My thoughts about blacks in America. I just felt I had to talk about it. So first, with the vision. So yesterday when I went to bed, oh, I was tired from the walk because I did do a live video yesterday afternoon at the famous Ramble in Central Park. Okay. So, what happened now? Yeah, so I closed my eyes and I was just um, being mindfulness and just going over things in my head. And I had my eyes closed. And for a brief second or so, I saw a cluster of firemen at a balcony. And what's interesting about my visions, like when I have my eyes closed and I'm seeing the thing, my mind was just on something. And then immediately I see, like, I would say it would be on the lower right of my vision, where I'm actually seeing the image. It was a small, no, I shouldn't say image because it wasn't a still photo type of thing. There was movement, people moving. So it was more like a video. On the lower right of my vision, I see a cluster of firemen at a balcony. It was just for a split second. You could see them like all huddled at what looked like a balcony. And it seemed like at eye level. So wherever I'm seeing what I'm seeing is at the same level as where the people are. So they're not like way below me or way above me. And it seemed more like eye level, and it was at a distance, some distance from me. So as if I'm viewing this from another building and looking. And it was a big balcony. And you see tons of these firemen all huddled together and then racing out the balcony. And they seemed tiny. And I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, what happened? What? It was just instantaneous, and then it went away. So I thought that was something. And I couldn't resume. I didn't see anything else after. It was just for a split second. And I was starting to drift to sleep. I was conscious and aware, and because I was thinking, and then boom, the thing came to me. So I'm not sure what that is about. Um, it just had me thinking. Did I see what I saw? Well, I saw something. Yes, I know. Like before, I started doing meditations, and when I would go to sleep, like when I was real tired. One time, even before I closed my eye, I was just about to shut my eyes. I was jumping on bed to just doze off. I was so mentally and physically tired that one time. Before I even put my head hit the pillow, my mind was racing like these images flash by my eyes, as if it was flashing by my vision. Like like if you take a picture book and you thumb through it real quickly to see the pictures move, something like that. It was rapid fire, and you could actually see. It was so weird, and there was different images, like a movie, real fat, but it was all different pictures. It wasn't like a continuity. It was like a series of. It's like my mind was s- sifting through things until it finds the one that it wants to show me. So you really start to wonder whether the dream world is something that is being given you. And sometimes when you're in between states, the dream world and the wake world, these glitches happen. And you could see that something is going on. And in that case, the different selection of the different selection of future, dreams, potential dreams that you can dream. So are those dreams yours? Or are they being imprinted on you like a computer? Your brain really is a computer. It they download. I feel sometimes they download dreams to you. Things happen. Like there's, the typical everyday night sleep and you have a dream, whatever. Just typical. But then sometimes there's a glitch and you're in between and you're aware and it happens. And so my body and my mind was ready for sleep and dreaming instantaneous because I was just so exhausted. I was just jumping on my bed, and before I had enough awareness that I was starting to dream, and my eyes were still open. I didn't even put my head. It didn't even reach the pillow yet, so I was ready to. But I was ready to dream right away. And the thing is, I don't even remember what I dreamed, but I just saw the glitch and the different movies being selected for me. So that's why sometimes I feel that after seeing the movie The Matrix, why I think we're in some type of simulation, some type of, we're plugged into something. That is definite. I believe that we are being uh, plugged into when we sleep. So that's that with the vision that I had, with the firemen in, all squished together. And um, yeah, one of those things. So the next thing I want to talk about that I really wanted to talk about, and is the audio okay, Francine? Just want to make sure the audio, because I know my voice is very low. So I have the mic by my face, my mouth, I should say. Oh, great, great. Hey, good morning, C. James. Yes, yes, I'm so glad that you're up too. Great, great. It's always good to get feedback. Okay, so I got the vision that I saw. Now I want to talk about the meat. Yes, good morning. Good morning, C. James. Yes, it's always a pleasure to see the regular um, viewers out there. Yes, so let me begin. How do we, yeah, how do I begin this now? Again, why I share what I share as it pertains to the Black community, and I am a member of the Black community. I share what I share not to insult or embarrass, but a wake up call. If we don't tell the people that you love what's going on, would you say that is a person that is loving? And again, it's also up to me to say it in love. Someone could say, well, I just wanted to tell you because I love you, but you don't say it in a loving manner. Um, I would say I have to share what I share. Um, it's really an awakening. It's really analyzing what's going on with our lives. All of us are being infected by things. We're human. We hear things, we see things. As I was waking up this morning, and I'm just lying here in my bed, I started thinking about, like, I live in the city, as you guys see. I do my walkabouts in the city with my dogs, and I'm living in a city, New York City, that is changing before my eyes. I love the city. I just starting out, when I was a teenager, when I got my first job, I was 17 years old. I was so proud of the city, and I thought it was my city. I was proud to show visitors the city and the places that I go. But now it's getting more, I feel a little ashamed. I'm ashamed about the behavior, and I'm grieved about the social decay of all the establishments. It's not a perfect place, but I loved it. I was proud of the city, my city, New York City, very proud of it. But as time goes on, I feel like, wow, why is this happening? I call it now. It's a chocolate city, milk chocolate city, caramel, butter toffee, and some marshmallow. It is going down, people. It's going down in ethics, how we carry ourselves, everything. It's embarrassing. And it's okay, I'm not a rich person, and I don't want to pretend I'm something that I'm not. I am who I am. Uh, I'm basically a free spirit individual. I'm someone, I do like nice things. I was taught early in life, you want things, and if when you get things, you keep it. You keep it in good, like in front of me, it's my bicycle. I keep it in good shape. Every springtime, I get it serviced. I don't ride it much. I only rode it once this year, actually. But I was taught when you have something, you keep it. And that the act of keeping your property, your belongings well, and for years, it serves you, and that the universe will reward you and you'll get more things. I believe that. I've lost everything, all my belongings before, and had to start it from scratch. Yeah, when you have the mindset of keeping what's yours, the universe will reward you, and you too will get. If you're a good steward, the steward will be good to you. And I think that's a principle. So no matter where you go in life, so whether you're rich or poor, you have what you have. Keep what you have in good shape. And that also means about your body. I know it sounds like I'm getting a little bit off the mark, but no, it's all related, what I'm going to talk about. Yeah. So you keep your body, meaning you get the exercise you need. You bathe. You keep yourself neat. I'm not saying you have to have your dragon nails and things like that. Just be, presentable, and your body will carry you. You know. And when you need an adjustment, you go get an adjustment. Yeah, it's an agreement. It is an agreement, Francine. It's an agreement that, hey, you're a good steward of what I'm giving you. Okay, your health, your body. Oh, you like to do drugs. Oh, do you? Well, I'm going to not give you longevity, you know? So the principles that has to be done for the universe to do its part. Now my life isn't perfect, but I have everything that I need. And I have to give thanks to the universe for what I have. I I'm a woman. Every action has a reaction. Exactly, C. James. Exactly. Everything you do has an effect on everything else. So if you don't take care of your body will not take care of you. You buy a chair, and if you abuse that chair, and when you become old and gray, that chair will not be there for you. So, with that foundation said, how is that in relationship to blacks in America? Well, a lot of us abuse our bodies. You say, how so? A lot of us are into drugs. A lot of us are into promiscuity. And we even get on television, like on those talk shows, because we don't know who the father of our child is. Now, that is such careless behavior when you don't even know who the father of your child is. And you go through 15 potential fathers, and all of them are negative in the testing, right? You get a DNA test, and all of them say negative, that they are excluded from being the father. See, we don't care about our bodies. We're not respecting our bodies. Our mind. What type of movies do we watch? You know, now in New York City, when I was taking the subway, they used to have these businesses that have like a monitor up front of the window, and they'll play those kung fu fighting stuff. Now, I mean, I'm being real, and you could answer how you want to answer, but look at the people who watch that those videos that those businesses show. People of color, we love to watch violence, and we only respond to violence. So you got a lot of people like Black Americans, you got West Indians, Hispanics. Now, what all happened to those demographics? Slavery, getting your land taken away, right? Basically, that's what our history is. And so you only know how to respond to violence. And so you are attracted to it. So, how does that affect the way you act? If that's what you really like, even the churches, it's like we have more churches in our, at least here in New York City, especially in the outer boroughs like Queens, where I'm from. We have more churches in our communities, but you have poverty. You have a lot of poverty in these neighborhoods, but we have a deluge of churches. So religion isn't helping our community. I think it used to. It used to serve our community. It gave us an outlet of socialization. We're social beings, and people have to mingle with other people. And historically, blacks weren't allowed to congregate. And if we were allowed to congregate, it had to be under the guise of religion in a church, and pretty much what was said had to be approved of by white people. And you may have a white person in there to make sure you stay in check in your church. So we have a history in the Americas. And it's unfortunate, now I love my country, but it has things that it's really not addressing or correcting, I should say. Um, the attitude. So I guess having a history like the ones that we have, um, we're hurting. But I think we're being exploited. Our presence here from the very beginning in the Americas was one that is to be a tool. We are a tool in America. We were the bodies, the tools, the hands, the feet of the system. So whatever what the system wanted, we had to do it. We had to clear the land. We were the ones that were, we built the churches, those big fancy churches that you see like in places like Mexico. We had to build all that. And that's my little doggy. My little doggy is making noise. Sorry about that. So we knew how to do things, but we were just here for somebody else. Do you think we are suffering from syndromes from slavery that are still affecting us today? Oh, definitely, C. James. That's what I'm getting at. I'm so glad that you wrote that. Exactly. That you know exactly what I'm saying. It's a syndrome, uh, a residue from the past, and it's not about I'm trying to pick at the wounds. The wounds are festering, and everybody's pretending that nothing is going on. Something is going on. That's why we act in the way we are. Things are being done to us. And I discussed that yesterday about uh, the like, with the electron that those machines that count the ballots. Oh yeah, they were being tampered with, and it's not about um, who you're who you want to win. I'm not talking about that. You know you have your right of any candidate you want. It's your business. But when you tamper with computers and the glitches slash computer programmed again, see everything is programmed. Everything's already set up. Okay, but either way, I live in the city, and I start to like I was remembering this woman. She might, I'm not sure if she's still a teenager or she's in her early 20s. But we have a Mayor de Blasio. Mayor de Blasio. He has at least two children. He's a white man of Italian ancestry, and he's married to an American black woman, at least some type of black woman, and they have two biracial kids. And I remember it was a couple of years ago when he came into office, and they were interviewing the children. You know, him. I think the children were there, and I think it was the girl, the daughter, and she admitted that there was some problems. I think it was some drug problems. Now this was a young child, a teenager, a young teen. It was something. Um, and guess what? She has a mugshot. Okay. Uh-oh, the screen just went, uh-oh. You saw what just happened? I can't stand that. You know what just happened? The yeah, the screen just went black. See, when I said the name De Blasio, and then it messed up the screen. Start noticing on my videos when I start to mention a name, all of a sudden I get a glitch. See that? I can still hear you. Okay, great, great. Thank you, C. James. Yeah, thank you for that feedback. Yes. Let me know if you can't hear me, and put, because maybe again, the what do you call it? The chat room is still available. Yeah, yeah. So definitely keep me posted because I when I see the glitch like that, it's like this streak across the monitor. Yeah. So you just saw what happened. I mentioned the name, and then boom, the screen went dark. Okay, so the algorithms are preventing me to, this. See, this is what I'm getting at, people. I'm a small channel, but I am greatly censored. They already pulled 3 videos of mine, and then said that you can't go on you don't have access to your channel for a week. Each time was for one whole week. It's like they're slapping your hand like a child, and it's really infuriating. And I'm I'm honest in my videos, and I'm just having conversation, and but they don't want you to talk about certain things. Well, this just means I'm going to keep on keeping on. See that? Things like this, they don't want me to talk about. Well, I'm going to talk about it. That's one thing. In this life, if you cannot be about truth, why even live? You got a lot of fake people out there. I don't want to be one of them. So I'm going to continue. Now I was just talking about de Blasio. I'm going to say it again, de Blasio, de Blasio, de Blasio of New York City. Yes. So what happened? I saw her mugshot. That's why I'm going to tell it again. I saw her mugshot. Hi, Francine. Yeah, let's see the picture. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I do. I do. You guys encourage me. They've shut down on my on YouTube. They have what they call analytics, and you get to see how your channel is doing. Yes, I will. So what happened? Now I'm pumping out my videos and long videos at that, and in every category, it's gone south. uh, Decrease in viewership, decrease in subscribers, decrease in um, monetization. Every category is has a red zone in it. And I'm saying to myself, wow, how could that happen? I'm producing. So you say, I'm working hard, I'm working more, I should say, yet getting less. Isn't that what slavery is about? That you work, 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 but you get less, less, less? Well, that's what's happening to me. Yes, they're punishing me, and they think they're slick. Well, I don't do my videos for money, okay? I When I discovered YouTube, I did it to express myself, and that's why I do it. Sure, I would like to get paid. Sure, I'm not working. I don't have a 9 to 5, I should say. So, and the things are getting more expensive. So, hey, this would be great. But yes, my everything is decreasing because see, they're trying to intimidate me, and they think they're slick. They think they're slick, but they're not. Okay. So, um, so what I was saying now with De Blasio, that's right, De Blasio, De Blasio, De Blasio. I'm going to say it. Well, I saw in a video about 2 days ago his daughter. And again, a couple of years ago when he got into office and they showed his family, and that there was some problem, and she seemed really humble, very, very humble. And then in a video yesterday, they had a mug shot. And I said to myself, "Oh my God, what in the world is that the daughter?" Now, I mean, yes, she dresses. Now again, this is not about insulting people's taste in clothing or style. That's your business. But you're a young woman. She has to be in her early 20s by now because she was a teen before, so she might be in her early 20s. Well, I guess you guys could Google, Joe de Blasio, what's his name? Joe de Blasio. I forget his full first name, but de Blasio's daughter. Oh, okay, see, James. Doesn't it look spooky? Do, doesn't it look spooky? And there's the mug shot, and then there was another thing with her. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not about making fun, but you're a young child, a young adult, excuse me, a young adult, and you have the mayor of a major, major city, one of the largest cities in America, and you're looking like an anarchist, an anarchist. And again, there was some problems before he got into office, and they had to get supervision or hospitalization. Okay, so it was problems. I can only speculate what the problem is. Okay, you're a black girl, a light-skinned black girl in America, but you have a white father and a black mother. I would say that's probably her first attack that happened to her. How do you navigate in New York City during the um, a racial climate of today, and that the narrative that white people are bad and racist, but your father's a white man? How do you deal with that? So, what some of us black people do who are biracial, you want to be. She looks. Yes, yes, she looks possessed. And so how do you, and I could relate to that, though, um, of how do you deal with someone who's biracial, or you have your knowledge of your, oh, hey, how you doing, Cam Cam? Yeah, right now I'm talking about uh, De Blasio, Mayor De Blasio of New York City, uh, the daughter right now. And we were just uh, commenting about her mugshot. Yes, she was arrested during the rioting, and I'm just saying, this is the one of the largest cities in New York City. I mean, in United States of America, and the mayor's yes, and the mayor's daughter looking crazy. I wouldn't want to meet her. Why is it? Okay, let me go here. And again, this is not, I'm not saying these things to be insensitive. But this is what I'm getting at. You have young black people, young adults, who have parents who have good jobs and the kids look crazy or around crazy looking people. Look at um, Obama. When Obama was still in office, and oh yes, I know you're not trying to talk about that. Yeah, that's not what I'm about. But I am about exposing things like the pink elephant in the room. That's what I'm exposing, and to try to find out what is going on. So, De Blasio, oh, what's it? Oh, I'm sorry, Obama now. Obama has two daughters. Now, didn't they look very sweet when they were the day he was elected president? You know, when he won, I cried with joy. I did. I cried because I was so happy for the family and what I thought was a black family. Okay. Okay. That this is all a screen. And I talked about something like this yesterday. You have people that look like us, talk like us, and maybe act like us, but they're not really us and they don't represent us and they're about another agenda. But either way, Obama's daughter was at a concert. Now, I believe in, having fun. And I was just like, what do you see? She was smoking what looked like, a hand rolled cigarette of some type. Again, you use your imagination what this hand rolled thing is. And then you see her dancing. Now, I believe in having fun, uh, but you are the daughter of the pre- I- president. And again, I have a military background. And when you're out there in uniform, so to speak, you better behave a certain way because you represent something powerful. I don't know what happened to the last. Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. It's about another agenda. That's right. It's a new generation now. They're possessed and they're programmed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know about the funny cigarettes. Yep. So, but you see her dancing, but she looks bizarre. Okay, I believe in having fun, but it's just something, when you represent something high up. And again, I come from a military background, and you better when you're easily recognizable, like when you're in uniform, you better conduct yourself a certain because you represent something. And she knows as the president's daughter that she represents something too, right? But how she's carrying on. And it was the same camera. After it showed her, it showed the guy that was next to her. And he looked very bizarre. And I just assumed that he might have been the chaperone because he was like right there. You're the president's daughter. You're going to have security team or something, or you're going to make sure who goes next to your child. It's someone that is security safe. Yeah. Yes. And then right after it showed the guy, he was a chubby guy. In front of him was this woman, an older woman, older than the daughter. And she looked, you thought de Blasio's daughter looked weird. This one looked even bizarrer. She was a Caucasian female. And then the camera went bye-bye. Yeah, because it was just getting too bizarre. So it's things like this that you start asking yourself, what's happening to these young people? And why is it that these parents having these jobs, these good jobs. They're not starving. They have vacation homes. They have food. Okay, what's happening to these young people? It's spooky. It is so spooky. Yes, hello viewers. Yes, I'm just noticing the view count, and yes, the screen it got frozen when I mentioned De Blasio's name and his daughter. Boom, the screen froze, so you can't see anything. So nothing's wrong with your camera. It's something with who is what the topic what I'm talking about. That's what's happening. Yeah. So you have these young black people, and even though their parents are have nice jobs, whatever, the stress of being in the spotlight of having parents um, who are in government, why it seems to make children act crazy, why they're forced, why it looks like they do drugs. And I think De Blasio's daughter did mention when the father first got into office that there was some problem with drugs. And again, she was very modest, you know, a nice child. But man, couple of years, but now she had how she has her hair, her earlobes. Yes, hello, Demetria. Yes, hello. Yes, there's nothing wrong with your screen. I was just talking about a subject that got controversial, and this is what YouTube did to me. So the screen is black. Yeah, the screen always does that with certain topics. Exactly. Yeah, thank you, Cam. So young black people, even when your parents have a job, it doesn't matter whether your parent is white or black, if you're a black child, okay, or biracial, whatever what you want to call yourself. You're not free from it. You get hit still. And the way this de Blasio's daughter looks seems to suggest there is some severe trauma, and her coping skills it led her to do what she's doing. And I feel sorry for her. This was the first time I saw any picture of her. You don't hear anything about the family. It was just the initial time when he got into office. They did a little interview, and that was it. So that's all that I know. I feel sad. I feel sad for these people. So if it's hard for the mayor's to be a mayor's daughter, just imagine the other black people here in New York City or across America who just have regular parents, or maybe they're a single head of household parent trying to support the children, and the things that's happening. We don't seem to like ourselves. We don't like ourselves. We're, 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 we are attacking ourselves. When you do drugs, or I should say abuse drugs, and you start looking and acting like some of these young people, it's a cry for help. It is a cry for help. And that grieves me. Uh, but even though we're crying out for help, I think the nation as a whole, it's not just black people, it's everybody. People, we are all affecting each other. Every family is dealing with pain of some sort. Because now a lot of businesses, regardless of your race, you're out of employment. Or maybe they only have you work part time and used to be full time. Or maybe you're forced to work at home. these things affect people. And now, like with the rioting, I want to talk about that. The riots that you see now, a lot of the riots are valid. It's valid in the sense that yes, yes, Camp Can, yeah, it is a cry for help. So that's why I want to be sensitive to what's going on with these young people. This is a young person, a young adult. And your parents, they could easily send you away to maybe live with relatives or wherever. I mean, get them out of here. Get your babies out of this. It's a prison. New York City is turning like a prison. Zombies. Yeah, we're not safe. And I think it was festering even before the COVID. Well, on some level, like my being in New York City, I wasn't walking around with a body cam. Remember, over the summer I purchased a body cam. At least I mentioned it. I got groped by a black man, yeah, a black man wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt. So now when I see a black man wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt, I freeze because I was groped, and the fear of being sexually attacked by these uh, individuals wearing that. So again, if Black lives really matters, why did you grope me? See, that's what this is the meat of what I want to talk about. Why I'm doing this live stream. If Black lives really matters to Black people, why aren't we addressing our hurting community? Like I'm sure the De Blasio's did some intervention for their daughter. She looked again. You do the assessment of what you think what's going on in her head. Okay, they have money for her to get treatment, but look at everybody else. They look just it's frightening. Um, so now it's like um, I don't feel safe walking in my own neighborhood. Where I got groped happened maybe 2 blocks away from where I live. And this was at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, I like to go out when it's daylight outside. You very rarely see me doing videos when it's dark outside. I headed home yesterday when I was doing my live stream. I was leaving the park around 3:30 because I remember my saying that it'll take me about an hour to get home, and by that time it'd be sunset. Sunset started at 4:33 p.m. yesterday, so I was on my way home at 3:30. Okay, which is is it's an okay time, right? Yeah, I had my little doggies with me. I don't want to be outside when it's dark outside. There's a lot of things happening. Now, I was groped during the summer, and it made me angry. And it got me angry even more so because when I went to get help, because the guy was coming after me again, and I have my stroller, like you'll see how I walk my dogs. I have my little doggies with me in the stroller. And right next to me, there was a store, a big store. Not going to give the name of the store. And the woman at the takeout window, I said, please call the cop. This man just groped me. I said, I was more colorful in my language, but I said, please. And I told her what happened. Instead of her helping me, she yells back at me. My God, that's what I'm talking about. If black lives really matter, how come this young black woman, she was a young black woman. She could have been a teenager or in her early 20s, a young, tiny female. This is what New York City is all about. It is not about Black Lives Matter because they demonstrated that Black lives doesn't matter when a black person comes to you for help. I'm old enough to be this person's mother. And she didn't have the respect, the decency to just, because of that age difference, to at least call. And you know what else? If you guys didn't know, when a uh, business phone, when a person in business calls for the police, they come right away. But this wasn't what I was thinking at the time. I just wanted to get help. I wanted people to know what was going on, intervention, and hopefully the guy would back away when they see other people intervening. But that didn't happen. And she yelled back at me what she yelled back. So I had to help, you know, get out of there. So it was a very frightening experience. And I did go in detail about it um, in my video that I did over the summer. So you can find that. Yeah, I have a picture of the guy in the thumbnail in my video. I think it happened in July. Yeah, just the anger that I have towards the woman. See that? Because see, black lives don't matter to us. If it did, the woman, the young woman, and that the same thing could have happened to her when she leaves to go home. And that weirdo out there and she get groped or raped or other women. See that? Because we don't love ourselves. And so I noticed something else. So that was a personal experience that happened to me that really exposed that black lives don't matter to black people. But it just seems to be an issue when a white person is involved. And I wanted to talk about this also, the different components of different types of black people. See, that's also what I notice in the community. And I just want to expose it so we can deal with it. Sometimes, we all are programmed. I'm born and raised here. And yes, I was programmed to think a certain way. But now I am awakening and challenging myself when it pops its ugly head. None of us are immune to it. And again, if you don't talk about it and don't address it, it'll continue. So that's also why I share this. So I notice like there's different types of people that black people are willing to fight for. Let's give examples. Okay. And again, any type of violence done on any human being is a no-no. Okay. The most common one, the most popular known one is the man Floyd, that Mr. Floyd. Oh God, I forget his full name. The man who got knee choked by the cop. That was horrific. It was very traumatizing. And again, these things when they show it, yeah, thank you, George Floyd. Thank you, C. James. Yeah, Mr. George Floyd. What happened to him now? Now, we all know what happened to George Floyd, and I don't have to repeat it. It was horrific. his murder. Um, and regardless what his background, now again, this is not to slam him or to shame him or the family, his family, okay? But it's just about us being aware of certain things, what we're willing to fight for. Now, it turns out there was some past that he had, and he moved away to get away from that past. And he moved to Minnesota. I think he's from Texas, and he moved to Minnesota. And he was getting his life back together. And then the thing happens to him, and there is an outcry in the community, on tape of a murder of this man. There's also the guy, Mr. Brown. Oh, brother, this one happened maybe 4 years ago. The He was, I think, 18 years old, 18 or 19 years old, and he was walking with another buddy, and he got killed execution style. Oh, and then he had a pass. And there was coincidentally a not a photo, a video with him a couple of days before his murder of him thugging a store clerk. Now, he was not of legal age to purchase cigars or cigarettes. And that's what he was taking. And he thugged the store clerk and took the smoking paraphernalia, the smoking stuff. It could have been cigars, I forget. It looked like a box of cigars, but it could have been cigarettes. But either way, you're a minor and you're not supposed to be buying or smoking that. It's illegal for you. Um, and I gather from that video that it seemed to suggest a character of him. So um, there was a big outcry when he gets killed by the cops. So why did I mention those two, Floyd and Brown? Again, all human life is important. But I noticed within the black community that they seem to rally for blacks who are from a lower social economic profile. Okay? A lower social economic profile. But if it's a black person of a higher socioeconomic profile, they're overlooked. And in fact, um, not they're not respected in the black community. I noticed, and this is the meat of what I wanted to talk about in this video, this live stream. Okay, who I want to talk about now are two other black individuals. One a young man, I think he was in his 20s. Oh, how could I forget his name? This was an event that happened in February. And interesting, his he was murdered also. He was the black jogger who had stepped into this house construction. Again, it's all open to the elements. There's no doors or anything like. Hey, yes, how you doing, Camp? Yes, hello. Yes, it's good to see you out there. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, okay. What I was saying now that that individual, he went inside a house. Yes, yes, you're pretty good with names. Thank you, Francine. Aubrey. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. He was jogging And yes, he entered somebody's property. And again, it was open. There was no doors, whatever. And there was a camera shooting at the time that showed him entering and quickly, and leaving. Now, when he approached the house under construction, it was for a private family. It's not like it wasn't a business, but it was a private residence place being built. And it'd be a curiosity I think, to most people. And out of curiosity, he stops in front of the house, stares, and then enters. And then he leaves and jogs off. But he didn't have any items in his hands. He doesn't look like he's carrying anything, uh, you know. But people were watching him, and people chased him. It wasn't even their house. This was in a predominantly white neighborhood where this construction site was, and two cars went, a truck chased him. And what happened? Well, on camera, he was shot dead by a some type of rifle at close range. It was horrific. And it turned out that the man that's actually doing the filming in viewing the chase scene and the shooting and murder of that guy Aubrey, um, it turns out that he was part of the whole thing too. Um, it's what they call the Good Old Boys Network. And when you see a black person and being chased by a white person, for other white people to get involved and to assume the black person is a bad person, right? And he was filming, and evidence showed that his car had these bang up marks on it because he ran him over. But ran him, the driver maneuvered the car, and so when Aubrey was trying to run for his life, he banged into the car, and the fibers of his clothes was on the car. When they did a forensic investigation. So it turns out that he wasn't just a good Samaritan, just so happened to be there taking a video. That's it. Night, night. Okay. Yes, I'll take care, James. Thank you for signing out. Thank you. That's so polite. Thank you. See, James is a really nice individual. I like how they did that. That's really polite. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Have a blessed night. So, anyway, what happened? So, he dies at the scene, but very little is mentioned about him in the media. Yeah, this happened in February. And I only knew about it 3 months later. What happened? Why wasn't Aubrey discussed? Why? Well, he came from a more stable home. Okay, he wasn't. It wasn't like the stereotype ghetto family. He was a jogger, an avid jogger, but very little is said about him. Why is that? And I thought the circumstances with Aubrey was more problematic than um, Floyd. And again, it's not, I'm not just saying to compare who is better, who's what. No, I'm not trying to go there. But it's just observation and what brings media attention. So I thought media attention for someone who did not commit a crime. What Aubrey did, the jogger, he did not commit a crime. nor did he steal anything. And you had the camera that did show video of other people who walked into that facility, that house under construction, and who did take property from that site and left with it, but they weren't um, accosted. Why? Well, these were white people. Okay, so it made a difference when a black person entered. And again, there was no police report of early accounts of a black person stealing property. The owner of that property said there was no reports of any theft that went on. So the community can't say, "Oh, well, there were reports of theft." There was no report of theft. So these people who did put it on themselves to um hunt down Aubrey did it out of their own biasness towards people that look like him. But when there were white people that did steal, that did take property from that construction site with the video on and showed them, nothing happened to them. So it's just a comparison. And the media was very quiet about it. Why was the media quiet about it? Okay. Um, so that was that. And then the other comparison of another black individual that didn't get near the same type. I mean, it did get some publicity, but no rioting, anything like this. And this is about Professor Gates. Professor Gates, the Professor Gates of Harvard University. He is the head of the African American department. So this is a historian of black history. He is on television. He's done many shows about black. The latest one is like the black DNA. One's genetic history, and he was researching history of some of the people, and it was fantastic. An incident happened to him. He took some type of taxi home, and he realized he's locked out of his house. And this is on property owned by the school, Harvard University. And Gates, Professor Gates had asked the driver to help him get into his house. Yes, they used force to get in the house. And while this happens, a neighbor calls the cops, and they did play the tape, the 911 tape. And she's open, she's not like accusing, oh, there's something bad, but just, she sees something. And in fact, about the race of the person was not what he was. She said possibly this race, but that wasn't the case. So either way, it wasn't because he was black then, because the person didn't say the person was black. She's being a good neighbor, and she sees something, but it's a shame that she doesn't know that because he lived there for a while, and for that neighbor not to know her own neighbor, that's the only thing that was problematic about it. But either way, she wanted to make sure things were okay. So she is being a good neighbor. She doesn't know who he is. Call and have them investigate. So the police do come, and Gates talked to the cop that came, and uh, he presents his ID that yes, he lives here, and he was explaining what happened to him. But the cop, he got upset, Gates, Professor Gates, because the cop how the cop came across, and I guess in a accuse something accusing, and the cop wanted him to go outside with him. Gates knows when you go outside of your house. See that I'm losing people already on the. Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at the view account, and all of a sudden when I'm talking about Gates, the numbers in the view went down. But this is very important, people, to just understand what's going on, the dynamics that's happening within the black community, and what happens differently according to your social economic profile. So, Professor Gates, he knows his rights. He's in his domain. He showed proof of his ID, his ID that he lived there and what happened. But the cop is being a smarty pants and wants him to step outside. He knows Gates, Professor Gates knows. Okay, the powers that be are listening. Okay, yeah, Francine. Yeah, yeah. But I speak the truth, and that's all that really matters. And I speak this not to excite, but to let us know what's going on. There's something going on. So Professor Gates knows that once he stands outside, he is no longer in his domain, but the cop's domain, because the cop has no jurisdiction in your home, because it's not an arrest. The cop's not there to arrest anybody, but just to investigate because someone called that something happened, right? And it should have been a closed case that, okay, I was just coming home. I lost my keys. I need to get in my house. This is my ID proof that I live here, but that's not enough for the cop. And the cop wants him outdoors because the cop could then frisk him and violate Professor Gates' rights, human rights. So Gates said, no, I will not go outside there with you. I presented my ID. And so now Gates is angry and demands to get the cop's badge number and full name. And that's when the melee happened. So, what happened is that they arrested Professor Gates in his home, handcuffed him, and mugshot him. Now, what happened with Professor Gates? Well, in my opinion, what was going on with Professor Gates, now Professor Gates was an older man. He was in his 50s or 60s at the time of the arrest. And he is an upper class black man, highly educated. And you had several cops that was there. You had one black cop at the scene, but all the rest were white. And so it was about cuckolding Professor Gates because he was a black man that was showing status, power, and knowledge. And so the white cop is letting him know, I have the power to handcuff you anyway because I think you're a threat. And that's what happened. And there was what we call, this happened during Obama. Yes, hi, yes. Thank you, Camp Pogon. Yeah, so the cop was asserting his domain over him as a power, as a power over Professor Gates. He's letting him know this might be your domain, but I'm a cop, and I'm going to assert my authority over you. And that's the sad part because if it was, I think, in my opinion, if it was a person of a different race, that wouldn't have happened. And they just, oh, okay, laugh and just walk away. Why did the cop want to interview him outside of his house? There was nothing more to be said. Cop didn't like that he lived on campus and that he's an intellectual. And so now there was what they called it. Now again, this happened during President Obama's administration, and they had what I think they call a beer summit. Beer like the one that you drink, the alcoholic beverage that you drink. A beer summit with the cop and Gates. Because see, I'm sorry, yeah, Obama knows Professor Gates, or know of him at least. But see, he wants to be, but Obama wants to be in good standing with the police force and with white America. And so he's in between. And so I thought it was a shame that I see when you're a black person in a position in America, it seems like you have to have your a handler over you, and the handler in the sense of whose side are you on. So Obama had to be careful. He didn't want to ostracize white America, but he didn't want to ostracize his black friend. So it's like in the middle. But it seems like a lot of us, blacks who are in power, to make a decision, we seem to fail to make the decision when it's to really protect the black individual. And even after the Beer Summit, they both said, look, I was in the right. The cop felt he was in the right. Could he? Was he in the right? What was motivating? See, I understood Gates' behavior, that here he's a black man in his home and being coerced to step outside so that that cop could maybe frisk him, because the cop could say, oh, well, I thought I smelled something on you that smelled funny. Or I thought, they can say anything, and that he's doing his job because the cop is to protect outside, not in your house. See, you are the domain head of your house. A cop has no jurisdiction in your home. However, if it's a call against some activity that might be happening in your home, I think even then they have to have a warrant to enter your house to investigate. Okay, so so why mention these two stories with Professor Gates and Aubrey being from a more polished type background and minimal coverage. You didn't have protest marches like that. You didn't have that. You didn't. It almost like it just faded in the dark. However, if the person who is abused or who is victimized by an authority, and they're from a lower socioeconomic class, they are given publicity, such as George Floyd and Mr. Brown. And I just think this is really interesting. So here, Professor Gates is like the gatekeeper of Black American history, um, has high high educational background to because I think he graduated from an Ivy League school. This guy is someone that you should celebrate. But instead, it seems like the black community is now poo-pooing its true black leaders. It's poo-pooing excellence. You have Henry Louis Gates. Okay, whether he's Boule or not, Boule is an organization. And see, let's talk about that, Pocahontas. Let's talk about that. Thank you for getting his full name also. That's right, Henry Louis Gates Jr. Yeah, he's someone who worked hard. I remember he gave a story about when he was a young child and how he was studying new words. And so he was trying to improve his mind because he knew he wanted to go to school and go to a good school. So he was preparing himself for personal excellence. Whether and that's way before any Boule. He was already on the path. He chose for himself at an early time of his life that he wants to become a man of excellence, of economic excellence. I'm sorry, not economic, educational excellence, personal excellence. And that should be a role model for our community, right? So you have people who mention about the Boule. Now, I'm not a pro about his job got Americans to think they are come from Africa. I don't respect them. Okay, okay. Some of us, though, do come from Africa. Some of us do come from Africa. But either way, wherever were you from is a beautiful thing. Okay? Wherever where you're from. See, that's also the case I want to point out. See, this is very good that this conversation is happening and from what Pocahontas had shared. Because, see, this is a sentiment that some people have. And let's discuss this. Now, I respect Gates. To, again, I don't know him well. I saw him on television with some of the shows about the genetics. Again, he's a historian. But because he's a historian and he works in a, a predominantly white institution like Harvard University, Harvard University is the first chartered college in the United States. So that's where it gets its prestige from, because it was the first charter, like license, another word for charter is a license to have this school. So first is first, and you got to recognize that. You don't have to like the place. There are things that that college says or does that I don't like either. So the Boule. Now I'm not an expert on the Boule, but I did read a book that discuss organizations like that, and it does have an elitist type of veneer to it. Meaning, what do I mean by that? They select people who come from money. Oftentimes, it selects people based on their looks. So it's a lot of criteria. And one of the criteria is how do you look? Okay, campus saying they're sellouts. Okay. Yeah, this is the sentiment that they have, sellouts. Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that too. It's important. See, this is good. Keep on with the comments, Pocahontas, because this is what I want to discuss. So, Boule, it is an organization. It's a fraternity, and I think they have their sisterhood side also. They take what they call the top of the top, or they take who they think will make their image, their veneer, attractive. Okay. So oftentimes with the Boule, you'll have mixed race people slash light skinned black people. Okay. And they seem the more Caucasian looking you look, the more favored you are to be selected in a organization like this. And again, plus money. And they do have a network, and they go out places. Again, these are business people also. They have businesses. These aren't poor people. Or if they were poor, they got something work on their behalf. Maybe they uh, invented something, or maybe something that is valuable to the organization, and they select these people. So Pocahontas was suggesting that these are sellouts. Now, why do some people might think a boule? And I think the name boule, it has like a French sounding ring to it. I don't know the origin of the name boule, but those of you who do know, you can share that in the comment below. But the name boule seemed to like the name bourgeois or bougie. Some people call them bougies. How would you feel if some stranger came to your village or town you've been living in and then, oh, okay. Okay, couldn't read the last three words. But what I gather, Pocahontas, uh, if, see, awakeness. See, what Pocahontas is sounds like what he's saying is that you're being taught one thing about you, and then someone invades where you're from, and then they said that you're from somewhere else. Now that is being spun in the black community. And there's clear evidence of more of the fact that black people are coming from Africa. Now, and I did present in a video, um, and again, it's okay to disagree. Okay, yeah. It's okay to disagree or agree. But what about those black people who are from Africa? I see a lot. I mean, where I live, I see native-born Africans, and they don't look that much different than the general black population. Okay, so I'm angry when you have people who are so ashamed of being of African heritage, and they want a narrative that they are from another history. How do you think I feel? Those of you who are already here, allegedly, I'm talking about genetic. If you're not genetic, I'm talking about your lineage. Lineage and genetics are two separate things. Lineage is that when you go back to your parents, that those people was in a village somewhere in the Americas before Columbus. Very few of us could say that definitively. And yes, there are arguments that I've seen the videos uh, with blacks saying that they changed from Native American to colored and then from colored to black. You can change a label, but you do not change the looks and and the genetics. And I'm going to repeat that. You can change a name, you can change the label, but you do not change the genetics. You look what you look like. You look what you look like. My father looked what he looked like. Okay? So, and I've done videos already discussing it. And I compared what a black American and an Indian from the region of where Columbus came through and what the indigenous people of that time looked like. They're not our lineage. Everybody, we're from Chicago, can trace the roots to Mississippi. Yeah, yeah, there was a migration. Yeah, I couldn't read fast enough. But yes, many, this is what you call the black migration. The black migration. After slavery ended, many of the blacks felt forced to leave. I don't blame them. To leave the South, and they entered the North. Yes, but they're from plantations. Plantations where they kidnapped Africans, forced them for generations to work in those fields, and after slavery, they left in the Great Migration up north. So Harlem in Manhattan had a lot of these same black people from the South that entered Harlem. Not only them, but also people from the Caribbean also migrated up north to North America. Many and many people from even Europe came and moved into Harlem as well. Yeah. New York City was a haven for people all over the planet. But still, the boule now. Now, blacks are being taught that when you have academic excellence, that that's a bad thing. And we don't praise our leaders who've demonstrated that they too can have academic excellence, like Professor Gates. Now, Professor Gates, he does not have a spooky past. His family are workers, are intellects, and and he lived in segregated community. At least his father were under segregation, so he knows racism. But he didn't use racism to hold him back. Black people of that day, now Gates is probably in his 70s now. My father would have been in his late 80s. And my father went to college. So people of that generation, people in their 70s and up, we went to college. We praised education. Did you know at one time, and I'm saying this rhetorically, did you know that at one time it was illegal to teach a black person to read? If you were detected to know how to read and you were a black person, a slave, you could have been killed. So black people praised education to learn to know how to read. You know that most white people didn't know how to read either. Most people were illiterate. It was just a selected people. And you had black people at a time who wanted to know how to read so badly. And then the reversal happened in black America. It no longer praised the academic successors. It started to teach, and I think after World War II in the 1960s, 70s, I think that because see, remember during the civil rights era in America, the 60s and 70s, a lot of those black leaders, those were college students. Sorry, Angela something. Um, she was a student, a college student. The leaders, see, I'm losing people on the view here. See, they don't like that I'm talking the truth. See that? Why are you leaving now? Why are you leaving now? See that? Because I speak the truth. See, it's you don't have to like the truth. Deal with it and say, hey, how could we overcome this? When you don't know how to read, people could tell you that a sign says anything, and you fall for it. They can say, oh, that says a sign here, and you get a job. It could be something to sell you into slavery. right? You have to know how to read and write because you need to communicate, okay? You need to be able to communicate and distance. Like just to even go on the internet, you better know how to type and write words. How are you going to communicate to other people? So you have a period in time in the 60s and the 70s, you had people who were in the black movement, and they were all students. And these people got their doctorates. I'm an introvert. I don't understand people. Well, hey, camp, you need to get out there. It's okay to be an introvert. It's okay to be an introvert. I'm saying being aware. Being aware is cool to be an introvert. I used to be extremely introverted. I was very insecure, and I decided to use this as a platform to express myself. And I started on YouTube because, not this channel, I had another channel, but I saw an event that happened with the 17-year-old boy, Trayvon Martin. I think it's 4 years now, 4 years or more. 2012. Okay, yeah. So that's 8 years ago. Over 8 years ago, Trayvon Martin was murdered slash killed by George Zimmerman. And that was a real catalyst for me to start making videos on YouTube. I was so traumatized by that event. Yeah. So um, I'm just setting up something. So what happened now? So again, it was just not too long ago. The people in the night, during the Civil Rights Act, these were all professionals. See, I bet people would call Angela Davis, that's her name, Angela Davis. Now, Angela Davis' speeches are on YouTube. Yeah, I looked it up a couple of years ago. I said, oh my good, that's Angela Davis? That's what she looked like? And that's what she sounded. I dare you, Pocahontas. Go type in the name Angela Davis on YouTube when you have a free chance and listen to some of the speeches. You would probably call her a boule. You would probably call her a boule. Yeah, how she sounds. She's a black woman. Both of her parents are black Americans. And back then in those days, um, children, parents who want to send their kids to school, educate their children. They taught them little things like she took ballet in school. They peop, People back then in the day initially were mainstream. Things were segregated, but you still want to educate your children, have fun, right? She was no different than any other black person of her day, whether dark or light skin. Education was important, and black people knew it. And when they had a chance, they'll send and sacrifice their money to put their kids through school. Okay? So, people like Angela Davis' family educated her to uh, this Society of America, whatever what you want to call that, and she went to college. And she graduated and has her doctorate. She is a professor at one of the colleges in California. Yeah, and Angela Davis spoke out against the brutalities of racism. Go listen to her speeches. So I got to talk about this. So you poo-poo Professor Gates, who's of the same era as uh, Angela Davis. I think they're about the same age. They're both in their 70s, I think. Yeah, I think they're both in their 70s. And so what happened? So you have the black leaders of yesterday who were college graduates. You have other people, the former, was it the co-founder of the Panthers, the Black Panthers. And what happened with the Black Panther? I hope you guys could still hear me, because see, my screen is still black. Got blacking out because it didn't like when I was mentioning about De Blasio, the mayor, and the mayor's daughter. The screen went black. Okay, so let me know. You could just type in a one that you could still hear me. Okay, just let me know that we're on the same page. Okay, yeah. So anyway, okay, thank you so much for letting me know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so you have Angela Davis. Oh, what was I saying now? Now they, she goes to school, and the oh yeah, the Black Panther, the co-founder. I think he was the co-founder of the Black Panthers. And it was the Black Panthers that initiated this school lunch program in America. All of America has school lunch for the children because they knew that if your child, because they knew about hunger, and they knew that a lot of the black kids were not able to stay awake because they didn't have enough food. So they said those children should have a lunch, some meal in school so they can be fed and stay awake and, be alive. And the United States of America implemented the school lunch program. So there were good things. These people from the Civil Rights Act had common sense. They were educated black folk. Educated black folk. Yes, they were about black people, black families, and they use their head. They know that you need food to be alive. You know how many kids go to school just to get food? They don't even care about that subject. They go there solely for food. And I heard about kids like that. See, I speak because I have family that was in this school industry, and they told me what happened. Yeah, I have a relative, a family member who was a cook, not a cook, but the manager of the cafeteria in a high school, and he got to see those kids. And some of them were past the age of high school years, and they came into the school building to get food. Oh, yeah. So, so black people back in the day during the Civil Rights Act, they did not do things without thinking. They planned everything that they did was very methodical, and it was for a purpose, and they knew that it was important to implement some type of food lunch food program in the public schools to help their kids do better in school. Okay, so it wasn't about getting photographs. Now I've met someone from so you have blacks now. They think, see, they're not thinking, a lot of us today. They think that it's just enough to put a photo of a famous black person on the wall, and this is supposed to educate their children. That doesn't do a damn thing. I went to a church. It was a black church. It was a very, very small church, and it was in East Harlem, New York City. And they had, oh, now he was an intellectual, a black man, and he was a college graduate of his day. He'll be in his 70s, let's see, so fast. He'll be in his late 70s, 80s. Yeah. I met him when he was 65, and this was maybe in 2005 or 2000, yeah, around 2005, I saw him. So that's quite a while ago. Okay. So yeah, he's easy 75 to 80 years old by now. Um, and one of the attendants of the church, it was a child, he was about 10 years old, and he didn't know how to tie his shoelaces. And I saw a lot of stuff going on in his church. And the pastor said to the girl, "How come tie your shoes?" And it was the co-pastor's daughter, an even younger girl than the guy, the little boy. And she says, "He doesn't know how to tie his shoelaces." Like an FYI, like it's something that should have been known. So rather than showing the kid how to tie it, he said, "Oh, someone teach him how to tie." But yet, he had all this stuff. He meant well. The guy meant well, but he was more interested in talk rather than educating sometimes. But he did offer a program, a computer program for free in the school. So that I commend him with. But see, it's not enough just to have photographs for children of black people. When you don't represent them, it doesn't do any good. So let's say you go to school and the name of the school is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. School. Now, if you don't go by academic excellence, enforce that, it's just going to be another black school with black people. And that's another way how white people discriminate against black about what school you go to. And they know, okay, that school is named after a black person, then that must be a school that has black kids in it. Well, I'm not going to offer them in my program. See? But if you're going to have a school named after a black person, you better stand for what that person represented. See, it's not enough to just get a bunch of black kids or so called minority kids under a black name and think that's all you need. You have to educate them. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a very highly intelligent child. He graduated from high school at the age of 15. He, by the time, he was in his 20s when he got his doctorate. So this was a man of academic excellence. So, Pocahontas, do you call Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. a boule? He might have been a boule. He was a Mason, I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure of that. And Reverend Jackson, too. He is a Mason or in those fraternities. But they were about academics. They were about education. And so, why is it that if it's okay, the people of the 1960s and 70s and the 1950s, so 50s, 60s, and 70s, these were black leaders, they all had college and they graduated and they became professors. Even I think the co-founder of the Black Panthers is still alive, and he's a Republican. I kid you not. I saw him on a video on YouTube, and he explained about who he was. We wouldn't know at all who these people are if we bump into them in the street. A lot of these black leaders from the 1950s, some of them are still alive, but you don't hear from them. Why is that? Because some people won't like them because they're too intelligent for the major black people. So it just makes me start to think that what happened to Professor Gates and Aubrey, the incident with that happened to them with the police and with the vigilante group, that We don't want to pay attention to these type of black people. But if the black person who is victimized by someone else, if they're criminals or have a criminal background, okay, my phone is gonna turn off the power. I have to plug it real quick. Yeah, my phone. I'm on my phone. Let me fix it. Just take a second. Boy, yeah, the power. Yeah, when you go do the live streams on your phone, it takes a lot of power to do it. Okay, let me get this. It's all the why it's all it's all tangled up. Okay, so I have to take out the earpiece. It's gonna have might have some interference. Let me pull it out. Okay. Okay, I hope you can still hear me. Okay, I just put in the power pack so I could continue talking. Could you guys still hear me? Please press. I had to pull out the oops. I had to pull out the earpiece, and so I'm just talking. Okay, good. Thank you again, Pocahontas. Yeah, yeah. I think this is very important conversation. And again, I'm not saying these things to offend anybody. That's never my motive. You have people who go to those comedy clubs to insult people. I'm not here to insult people. I'm here to inform and to share. So, what I'm afraid of is that, see, there's a turnaround in the system. Everything is upside down. So, what is bad is considered good, and what is good is considered bad. And this is distorting our reality in the community, and not just the black community. So you have spectacular leaders who showed us the way in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Highly educated people who knew how to read, write. They wrote books, okay, and they implemented programs. They knew that just showing a picture on the wall was not. They weren't about putting pictures on the wall. They were about taking action. And we networked. We networked. But our community got infiltrated. Even Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., even his operation was infiltrated by the FBI. And there are things on YouTube that you could look at that discusses that. Yeah, there was an informant. And yes, he was a black person, this informant. And he was there when he got murdered, when King got murdered. He was right there. King knew he was going to die that day. And he really tried to, he wanted to keep it upbeat, the the atmosphere in the room. They were in the hotel room, and he had some of the older people of the community with them. He had a handful of people with them at the time, and they were interviewed some years after his murder. The people that were in the room with him and uh, saw what happened, when he got murdered at the balcony. It's very sad, but they had a sense of integrity. These weren't perfect people, and we all could look into uh, King's background and he had a mistress or somebody. And again, he could have been what they did in those days. They blackmailed people. They would set them up with women or men and get them in a sexual thing, and they use it and blackmail them to control them. That did happen. Okay. Um, So they back in those days they had plan. They had a plan of action. And so would you call Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Angela Davis, Boule, and a lot of people used it to, oh, they're Boule, like it's something bad. Is it bad? Is it bad to organize? Is it bad to want education for your children? Is it bad? Why isn't it bad to be someone that's on the street who sells illicit drugs to get your children addicted and to look crazy like DiMaggio's, what do you call it, De Blasio's daughter? You want to look like that, like a De Blasio's daughter? No. So you have people who are peddling drugs to us, to kill us, to get us addicted, but that's glamorized. See what I'm talking about? And you'll have a rally for people like George Floyd and Mr. Brown. I forget the Brown's full name. Michael Brown. That's right, Michael Brown. Now, I'm not saying this as um, to insult, but you have people in the community, but it seems like you only will represent people if they're from a social economic group that's a low status. But if the person is educated, then they're poo-pooed on, and no, we're not worth the fight. While there's people like Professor Gates, people like Aubrey, who's a jogger, he's into health. But these men are overlooked. You know what else? How about Rosa Parks? She's labeled as the daughter of the civil rights movement. She's the woman, she was in her 40s when she was on a bus, and she didn't want to get up and sit in the back. She said no. And in fact, the incident happened. There were several incidents that happened before that big incident. She knew the driver, and the driver knew her. See, they don't tell you that in the history books. Yeah, the two knew each other, and he was very mean spirited. This driver who did things in the past to her. So it was something personal, the event. But the history books don't tell you that. So would you call her a boule? Would you, people? Would you? She spoke out. And yes, she did work for the NAACP as a secretary for them. And yes, that's probably what got her the attention because she was part of this organization. Okay. And you had other people who did the same thing what she did, but they were not publicized. Why? Because their status, plain and simple, their status. So I don't like that either. But I wouldn't use contemptuous names for these people because they stuck out. You know, with the Rosa Parks, did you know that after the successful boycott of the buses, it was a 13-month boycott against the bus system. And after that, because it was an economic crash for that industry, and only because of the economic crash did they say, okay, you can't do the segregation on the buses. Okay, it took 13 months, and again, 13 is a very occultic number. So, and again, these people were Masons, many of them Masons or they're in fraternities and sororities. Definitely, many of these people, many people of that day. not just black people, but whites. Yeah. Um, but you had people who sacrificed. Oh, what was that? Now, with Rosa Parks, now she had to leave after the successful boycotting of the bus and them integrating the bus system. She was forced up north. Yes, a lot of blacks who got attacked would leave for the north because the south was so dangerous for them. So Rosa Parks, she and her husband, yes, she was married. She didn't have children, but she moved up north to, I think it was Detroit or Chicago. I forget which one. Let me know which one. If you knew what city she moved to, I forget which one. But either way, I think it was Chicago. I could be wrong, but I think it was Chicago. She gets mugged in her house. She was like in her 70s. Yeah, this happened in the 1990s. Yeah, the early 1990s. She gets mugged and almost gets killed in her own home. Isn't that something? See, does Black lives really matter? Does it? What happened? What happened? Could you guys hear me there? Please press a one for yes, just because the screen is still black and I don't have the mouthpiece on. So I'm just hoping that the audio's going. So yes, uh, does Black lives really matter to Black people? So here she left the white South, moved up north to a predominantly black city, and here she almost gets killed in her own home. And here she is considered, oh, great, great. And so here she is considered the daughter of the Civil Rights Act, and some thug breaks into her house, almost kills her in her house. And here she's an elderly woman, and this happened to her, and she lived in a black community. She's not even safe in her own community. The daughter of the Civil Rights Act is not safe amongst her own. She might as well have gone back down south to a bunch of white people. See, I say this as a wake up call because, see, black people don't like other black people, and this is a problem. So you could go and have a lot of marches because of George Floyd. So there's going to always be a George Floyd. There's always going to be a George Floyd. But what about your other people? You're only going to care about someone if they're from a low social economic, but you want to forget about those people who were instrumental to your advancement, and not just the advancement for black people, but for all so-called minority. The civil rights movement opened doors for a whole bunch of people: Asians, West Indians, Hispanics, white women. Who else? Everybody, Latin American. All those labels are protected groups, and they got what they call the slice of American pie, the American dream. They have, and they are protected. And what the civil rights movement should have done in hindsight, again, I don't know whether they tried, but they worded it in such a way, and we got fooled. See, it should have the civil rights movement should have specified black people, the protection of black people's civil rights. When you say minority, that opens up the umbrella to include a large spectrum of people. The what they call the inclusive movement, the diversity movement, all those things are a trick. We should want human rights, not civil rights. Oh yes, I agree with that. Human rights. Human rights. They basically they should really be the same thing, human rights and civil rights. When civilization is talking about um, how we interact with each other. But yes, human rights, it's all about humanity. Okay, we're not the minority in this country, we are the majority. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you want to word it like that, yes. In New York City, there's more people of color than white people. That's why I say now New York City is a chocolate, milk chocolate, caramel, and butter toffee. Yeah. When you go in the subway, all people of color. You don't see any white people in the subways, riding the subways. But when I first came out as a young adult, it was predominantly all white. What happened? The city is decay. See, when you have a so-called minority people, I should say people of color, black people in particular, when you have us living in a system in a city, they don't all of a sudden they don't want to keep up the city. They stop cleaning the facilities like the subway. They don't clean up as nice. The streets, the garbage, you want a clean city for again, cleanliness is next to godliness because cleanliness is it was maintains your health. When you don't have health, regardless of your race, you don't have wellness, right? You don't have health, you don't have wellness. So look in a place like New York City. They glamorize graffiti, and graffiti is just anger. It's anger expressed. I don't want to see anger expressed on the walls. They can do that in their own apartment, but I don't want to see people's crap outside like that. It's anger, and it's a negative vibration. So that's one thing I don't like, and that I want removed. I don't like the garbage in the street. I don't like it. I see people blowing their nose on the sidewalk. I've seen this several. It horrified me. This is nasty behavior. See, when you don't ta- um, monitor the way, I mean, I'm not saying that looks are all it, but it's part. The way you carry yourself, the way you dress, other just casual, and the way you keep your property, all those things. You want the street clean, you want all these things. It lifts your spirit up. This is being overlooked in New York City now. So now you see a lot of things boarded up that has a negative effect. And it affects your psychology, I think. I'm not a psychologist, but I would imagine it changes your psychology. It makes you more depressed, right? Now they have us wearing a mask, so you can't see people's expressions. And in fact, when you have a mask, someone said it funny. Bandits wear masks. A bandit wears a mask so that you can identify them. So people want to be unidentifiable. People want to be unidentifiable and they want to act out. And people now in New York City, again, the people who are usually very quiet are now becoming verbally aggressive. And it happened to me twice. Yeah, yeah, people getting very ugly. regarding this mask. And these are like puny people. In fact, yesterday, I was when I was coming home from the park, I saw a long line. It was on, I think, 57th Street off 8th Avenue. And I asked the couple at the back, I said, hey, what's this line for? He said, oh, it's for COVID testing. I said, oh, okay, be safe. And then I continue on. A long line, a long line. Now, these look like, now that particular line that I saw, the people look, wow. Wow, I mean, it was a whole, it looked like the length of the block. Yeah, I couldn't see where it ended the line. It was a big block. And I was at the corner, so I see this long, what is this? COVID testing. See that? They want you so fearful. These New Yorkers are falling for it. This victimhood, victim, and the viciousness that comes out with this COVID. COVID is just it's a cold flu thing. And you yourselves could go to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention website, and they have the database indicating the number of deaths of these diseases. And you'll see that they're pulling something over your head. And I discussed that in an earlier video this week. Like his name is Dr. Fauci. Now, Dr. Fauci, he works with viruses and stuff like that. Um, he's a scientist. Okay, COVID is a hoax. Yeah. Exactly. Um, he's saying that the number of people who died from influenza and the cold during the seasons of 2017 and 2018 was 80,000. And so he's saying 80,000 for that period, but now it's high. When actuality, the amount of people who died of those two things, the influenza and the cold, was over 200,000. Yeah, they said that's right. So okay, the message just got retracted. Yeah, it just said that Pocahontas. So you have disinformation, and if he's in charge of that organization, at least he works closely with the Center Disease Control. But he's quoting from it. So allegedly. So how could he make such a big mistake saying that something is 80,000 when it's over 200,000 for that period of time, that 2 year period? So what's happening is that they want you to think the crises is just all of a sudden now high, when actuality more people died from the cold and flu back then than now. But they are scaring you to make an excuse for you to put on the mask. How come we didn't have to wear the mask in 2017 and 2018 when more people died then? New Yorkers have to get vaccinated. They just passed the bill. I feel sorry for you all. It's going to go after your DNA. Okay. Oh wow. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. So they're saying that the vaccinate, well, they can have it. They can have it. Yeah, I heard something. I did a video earlier in the week about the New York Bar exam. I'm sorry, the New York Bar Association um, want to have a law passed that you have to, they made a recommendation that you pass a law that to mandate wearing the either, what was that, either that you have to be vaccinated or the mask, but either way, um, it's forcing itself, it's creating an environment, a scare environment, but it wasn't needed in 2017 and 2018. So human life wasn't important then, or isn't important now because it's election year. See that? See how things, you connect the dots, and how things are only important when it's a particular uh, political environment, like an election year. And if you covered, faces covered, they won't be able to identify you in camera, on camera. So the person would be who's doing the illicit activity with the poll machines. Oh, that wasn't me doing that. Oh, that wasn't me throwing out the ballots out the window. That was, you know. See, it's a way to cover your identity, and that's another problem that's happening in the country. People are afraid to show their identity, and they want to call themselves things that they are not. People now want to call themselves things that they are not. And the mask, again, is like a bandit. A bandit doesn't want their identity shown, it shows you what you are. The way person holds their mouth when they talk shows possible intent. Intent. Intent is very important. So all this ties in. I know I'm saying a lot, but everything what I'm saying, they all tie in. The mask, covering one's identity, covering, making you hide behind something because you think this thing is protecting you. And in actuality, this thing is killing you softly, slowly. It's killing you slowly. You say, well, how is that? How could a little mask kill you slowly? Well, when you breathe in your own breath, it's the waste product. It goes into your lungs and fills your system. The bacteria grows, the moisture and the bacteria grows on that mask you're wearing, and you're inhaling the buildup of that mold and mildew that might be building up on that mask. That too will replicate in your body. That mask also uh, presents a CO2 buildup and inhalation in your system. The increased levels of CO2 um, produces a stress response in your body. They want to kill off all the heirs to the land and the Aboriginals, so don't want to have to yes, okay, thank you. Very interesting. That is a very interesting point, to have people being killed with, so you don't have to pay reparation. They still owe us. You better fix the reparations. Yes, just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that they don't have to pay reparations. Like, let's say you get in a car accident and you tell the person, I didn't mean to run you over. I'm sorry. Yes, I know you're sorry, but you got to pay, right? It's the same thing. And that's another thing that's going to come up, the reparations issue. I've been talking about the reparations thing for about a year now. You do have some black people, and I heard this on YouTube, individuals who feel that reparations is a bad thing. And interesting that it seems like the black people who are against reparations are black people who are not serving the black community and who employ other people outside of the black community. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And the arguments that they present why it's bad to have reparations is in my opinion, it's baloney. It's not, and it's not about saying that white people have to pay us reparations. It's not white people. It's the government. Let me repeat. It's not about white people. It's about the government. What happened during the time of slavery and Jim Crow and um, Tuskegee experiments. It's not about white people. It is about a government system that mandated and passed laws. These were laws that said you could mistreat certain people just because of what they are, and that you were immune to prosecution when you did harm to us. That is what the reparations for. It's not about shaming white people, because it's not about shame. It's about repairing, and it was about a system, a governing body for over several hundred years that imposed its wickedness on a demographics, and is still trying to bully us. It is about that. It's not about white people. It's about the institution of oppression upon a group. The group could have been anyone. But in America, it's about this group that I'm talking about. And it's that has to be addressed. That's why you have so many so called more minorities in America, but you notice that they don't help you out. They don't employ you. They want you to do business with them, to buy from them, but they really don't respect your dollars. But because they are a minority, or are protected under the law for being a minority, when something happens to them, they get protected. They get protected, and they're doing well. And now you have new so-called minority groups who are trying to sue colleges for saying that there was a group of people. I'm just going to say the group. It was an Asian group, and it's this Asian group that is suing a particular school that they are showing preference for black people. See, in this particular, I don't know what school it was, what college it was, but the college gave preferential treatment of getting accepted. They were blacks and Hispanics that were getting uh, consideration, but the Asian group wasn't. But let me tell you this. Okay, they are trying to get reparations for Latinos too. I don't agree with it. Okay, okay. I would agree with that too. Because see that you do have Latinos. A very good point. Again, see you do have Latinos who are of black heritage, and yes, those from like the West Indies, like Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, they were slaves too. But many of them I don't identify with their black heritage. You have those who know they have black heritage, but they do not identify with the black cause. And many of them um, celebrate their whiteness, their Hispanic heritage. Hispanic heritage is European heritage, and that's fine too. If that's what you identify with, that's your business. But you cannot double dip and say you identify with your white heritage, but you want black privilege. You want to use the race card. Which one is it? One minute you're saying that you're a minority, but then you consider yourself white. So that type of thing with the reparations, let Spain give the Latino, the Hispanics, their reparations. Okay, let Spain give Latinos their reparations, and I'm fine with that. But oh, what was I saying now? Yeah, reparations is a real thing, and so there are some now that are addressing reparations, but they're making us feel the general black population foolish. Oh, you do have sellouts in the black community, but a person is not a sellout because they have a good job and because they speak well or because they got a college degree. A sellout in the black community is anyone who does harm against the black community. What type of harm? Well, to say we shouldn't have reparation is doing harm to us because, see, with the correct type of reparations means repair. That means they want us to stay damaged. I don't want that. Reparation is to repair, to correct something, some type of damage that was done. So for a black person to say we don't believe in reparation, that means you want to stay damaged. Then someone would say, well, I have a good job and I have this and that. Well, fine. That's fine that you got a good job. How many black people do you hire? And I tell you this, a lot of these black folks with these jobs, they don't hire blacks. They're hiring Latinos. The person I'm specifying here, okay, I'm not going to give his name. I don't even remember his name. I gave his name out before. He said in his video that all the people, he has a tree cutting business. And he himself said that he employs 100 something people and all of them are Mexican. That's his words. And that he doesn't believe in reparation. So I would say he's a sellout because he is trying to pacify he doesn't want to stand as a black man, but stand as a black man who hires others like he doesn't like himself. That's how that communicates with me. Yes, on the surface, he is a black man, but he's a sellout because he doesn't want to uplift the economic position of the black family. And it would be very interesting who he marries if he marries and has children. Who is he married to? Who does he date? Does he date or is he married to a black person? That's another key. Again, this is not about saying you cannot marry anybody out your race. I'm not about that. You marry who you feel like marrying, but just be wise on who you choose as your mate. Or is what you're doing, is it um, embracing your community to build up a community, or is your union with that person building up their community? So the black fellow that only hires Mexicans, who is he helping? Whose community? He's helping the Mexican slash Hispanic community, not yours. So who gets richer? They do, and not us. So that is someone who is a sellout, in my opinion. Again, people should be able to hire who he wants to hire. And I also thought it was really ironic of him to say, oh, let me know if you can still hear me. I'm rambling right now, and the screen is still off on this. I want to make sure that you're still there and that you can still hear me. So just please press a 1 for yes that you can still hear me. Okay? So I would consider that guy a sellout because, for one thing, he said he was quoting Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said that we should live in paraphrasing, that we should live uh, by by the uh, by the judge a person by their character rather than the color of their skin. And that sounds nice. Oh, great. Thank you. You can still hear me. Great. So, um, that is nice. But see, that doesn't apply here. And it's not that he he's not judging he's being okay. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a man of common sense. He was about community. I would not think that he would have a business and not hire anyone from his community. He'd be foolish. You think he was a reverend? He had a church. You think the people in his church were Mexican? You think the people in his church were white people? No, these people in his church were people from his community. So how come the people, black people of today, are twisting the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and saying, "Oh well, he said don't judge a person by the color of their skin, but by their conduct or the character, their character." I'm sorry. So let's go further with that. Let's say, how about those Mexican people? And again, this is not about an anti-Mexican thing. Okay, I'm not trying to be uh, coming across as that, but I'm using this as an example. A black American man. Now, this was a dark-skinned black American man living. I forget what state he lived in, and he said that he hires 100 something people, and not one of them are black, and that all of them are Mexican. How many of those Mexican people uh, are feeding, sharing their money or their food, the food money with a black family? How many of them are housing them? How many are protecting? How many of them have black friends? Okay, or is it totally that this black dude funneling and feeding? I am anti-Mexican. They are trying to take over the country. Okay, okay. I hear your words, Pocahontas. I hear your words, and these things are happening to us to cause division. This guy that I'm referring to, yeah, he is a black conservative. A big part of me is very, very conservative. I have conservative roots and I have also liberal tendencies as well. I am a blend I am a blend of my environment. I believe in fairness. And when I saw that video, and again, he's a black conservative, you're going to have a black conservative movement really picking up, I think, in 2 years from now. And I kind of made reference to that in yesterday's live stream I did outside. Okay. There's nothing wrong being a black conservative or a black liberal. You are who you are. But historically, in the Americas, black people were conservative. We had to be conservative because we were surrounded by white people who could kill us at any moment. Okay, so we did not have a high profile. We stayed low. When we're out and about, when we're out in an area that have a lot of white, we were not clowning around. We had to be very professional, very conservative. Okay, and we were church folks, and so at least publicly we displayed in general. Okay, I miss the days when the American family was together and had plots of land. Yes, 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 yes. I feel the same way. Thank you for sharing that. I feel that way also. I miss um, wholesomeness. I miss the concept of true community. It's not about racism. What I'm talking about is not about being anti anything. It's about what's being fair and saying that what is fair is false. Saying what is truly yours is like, oh, well, oh, you didn't forgive? Oh, you should forgive. It's not about forgiveness, it's about reparations. It's about being fair. And this is supposed to be a Christian nation. And what is that Bible all about? It's about reparations. What happened to those Hebrews? What was that all about? It was about freedom and trying to build your community. That's what it's really about. And then in the end of the book, is about waiting for a savior. So from slavery in Genesis, and then for liberation in the book of Revelation. See that? Repara- uh, slavery, reparation slash freedom. Okay, reparations and salvation, a savior. So even the book discusses what I'm talking about, the essence of what I'm talking about. So when we talk about the same thing, what people call the good book talk about, all of a sudden it doesn't apply to us. How come it doesn't apply to us? Why? Because people are greedy. People don't want to give if it people don't want you to have if it means that they may have to give to you, but they like to receive from us. See, they like to receive from us. What do they receive from black people? They receive music from us. They receive um, fashion from us. They receive technologies from us. They receive songs from us. They receive what makes a nation that is recognizable around the world. When people see hip hop music, what do they think of? The United States, Black America. It's a symbol. It represents now. I'm not into hip hop music, but I'm just using that as an example of how something in one's culture, um, when it's shown across the world, is instant recognition. It is instant recognition of who you are. It represents you. We have to start representing ourselves in a better way. As for the government of the United States, and then he says, Christian religion has itself no character. Okay, yes, you have a very good point. You have a very good point. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, be bold with your statements. Be respectful, but be bold. I respect that, in my view, is because it's not a one sided thing. We all learn from each other. And we're here as a forum, as a free. This was an Islamic nation in the 1600s. Really? I haven't heard of that. That's a new one for me. That's a new one. But very interesting. And yeah, you could elaborate on that if you like. Yes, please elaborate about it. This used to be an Islamic nation. I've never heard of that. Yes, you did have some slaves who were Muslims that were brought here, but that was not the usual. Um, but yeah, we have. So again, what I was saying about the man who hired Mexicans, and then he wants to hide behind um, the, the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, that King wants us to judge a person by their character rather than the color of their skin. Now, so you're saying only Mexicans have certain character that you like? You know what that
character that that man likes, the black guy likes with those Mexicans? He likes that they're cheap labor. Period. That's the character he likes. Cheap labor. Okay. Okay. Tripoli. Okay, I just read that. A Treaty of Tripoli. Very interesting. So, is that what that black man is saying? That he likes their character. He can't find black people with character. Now there is a grown number of us who don't have character. Unfortunate, but I think with that black fellow, it's not about character that he wants to hire. He wants to hire cheap labor, like many Americans, and they're bringing the cheap labor so they don't have to hire you, black fellow. And so you have black people who are falling for uh, the cheap labor movement to bring in cheap labor and kick you out of your job. That is what's happening. Not just kicking out the jobs of black America, but also white America. When the companies I forget the name that you call it, but it's when companies go overseas. They close their business in America and they go overseas uh, for cheap labor to do their business. So all the people here in America, like in what they call Appalachia, the Appalachian people, the coal miners. Remember, there's a song, "Coal Miner's Daughter." It was a Southern woman, and she did this movie, "Coal Miner's Daughter." Well, that's what that was talking about. We're making reference to. She was a coal miner's daughter, and you have in West Virginia. I was looking into West Virginia, but in West Virginia, Uh, it is a coal. It's where the mountains are, and there's coal in those mountains, and the major industry in some of these places in Appalachia was coal, and they used the coal for fuel, and it shut down the industry and moved somewhere else for energy, and that whole area got wiped out. And then you also had like Detroit. Detroit was the where the cars were made. It was a car industry, and it was the major industry of Detroit, and people had jobs, and then they all shut down and went overseas. See, this is the real attack on America. So it's not just black people, but see, it's about greed and people who really don't love America. See, if you loved America, you will love your own people. You will love your own, but you don't. So you have black people who don't want to hire blacks, and then you got white people who don't want to hire whites. They want to send them out, send the businesses overseas. Isn't that horrible? So this is creating anger and animosity against one another. The white people start to hate the black people because they feel that, hey, they're competing for jobs, and they lost their jobs. But they're not losing it to black America. They're losing it from cheap labor. Oh, you live in Detroit. There are no jobs here. Crime is low, though. Oh, okay. Because everybody's inside. That's why the crime is low. Everybody's inside because they're all tired. Yeah, make sure keep safe, Pocahontas. Make sure you take care of your health. Drink plenty of clean water. You know, boost up your immune system. Try to get out and about, get some exercise, keep your body, your motor running. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, there's no jobs there, and that is by design. This is what you call social engineering. This is what you call social engineering. This is all by design. It's called social engineering. They know what's going to happen. So when you get a white community in what they call Appalachia, who only had, one industry, the coal mining industry, and coal was king at one time for fuel, and then everything that gets taken away. And then in Detroit, the car industry, car manufacturing industry, that was a living wage. Those were living wages for people. And then they pulled it from you and moved those businesses overseas. That was a real crime. That's the real crime against America. Americans who hate other Americans. You wouldn't do that to us if you really loved America. They love money at any cost. And Joe Biden is selling out America at any cost. And I think I'm only speculating here. Again, I don't know the guy personally, never met him. But what I speculate what happened with Joe Biden, who ran for president and is now classified as the president elect. Okay, and the machines may have been made or tampered with by the Communist Chinese uh, political group. I mean party. He might have been compromised. See, he has a lot of skeleton in his closet. Remember Joe Biden's son, Hunter, uh, Hunter Biden, with a drug past and was kicked out of the military. Okay, and other incest, according to the sister, that the father violated his daughter sexually, according to her diary. So all these things. So Hunter Biden, the son, had given Joe Biden money that he received from China. So they're funneling money and buying out America through China. So he's receiving money from China to do business with China, favors for China. And he is set. My guess is he is going to sell out. Again, he's been in politics for 47 years. That's a long time. And he hasn't done anything that was pro American, anything that served the black community. It was nothing. So, how could he win an election? Well, the election, it shows that there were a lot of disparities. Why didn't they want to be observed? They didn't want to be observed in the poll room, the counting room, because they were doing illicit things. See, if you're going to, I don't care who wins so long that it's a fair fight. When you got to steal, cheat, or coerce, then it's not a fair fight, you know? So, but Biden, by his actions and affiliations, he's proven that he is an enemy of the United States and that he is going to sell out America for communist China. Communist China. You know, everything now is it's getting more communistic, socialistic. A lot of his policies are that. And he wants to implement that. You think you're oppressed now. Talk to people who maybe they came from Cuba, especially Cubans living in Florida. Go talk to them. Go talk to the ones who like in their 70s and 80s. Talk to them. Ask them, hey, what was communist Cuba like? What was it like for you? Now, I've met one in school in the 1980s, and she didn't like it. She was about 65 at the time. This was in the 1980s, so she'll be like, wow, she'll be in the 90s now. 67, 80. Yeah, she'll be in her 90s now if she's still alive. So, yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, go talk to people from Cuba, adults, older people, not the younger ones, and they'll tell you they don't like it. But see, it's a takeover, and it's a gradual takeover. And um, I know, I kind of like flung all here and there with this, but everything's related because see, we live in this country, and so we are affected by the politics that happen. And it's not just strictly happening to us. It's not just get black people, but it's a whole system. They always experiment with black people first. They experiment and perfect their wickedness upon our community first, to then follow upon the general American population. So that includes white, Hispanics, Asians, indigenous. It includes all of them. And that's what's happening. Yeah, they're going to get all of us, but they target black people first because we're very reactive, and it's a great testing ground of wickedness. They work on our genetics, so they study because we are the indigenous of the planet, and so if they know how to manipulate our genetics as the standard, they'll be able to manipulate other people's genetics. Okay? Because all the other races come from our race. So if the root race is us, the black race, you're going to get the Asian and the European and the indigenous of the Americas, right? So it's a slow takeover America. So yes, with the Professor Gates and the resentment, so they want people. They're changing the paradigm. They're confusing you. This is part of the social um, manipulation. So what is good is bad, and what's bad is good. And so if you are a college graduate black person, you're bad, you're no longer considered sophisticated. You're considered an enemy of the general black population. But if you're a drug dealer, a gangbanger, you are praised in the black community, at least in the media's eyes. You are praised. Isn't that a form of genocide? Isn't that in communicating to you? Don't read a book. Don't educate yourself. Don't wish for something better to live in, and that to stay put in the ghetto. Isn't the music that's being played for you, isn't that lulling you to sleep, to think that where you live is cool, where it's chic, trendy? I don't want to live in any dilapidated place where there's low energy. No way. It's not glamorous. Poverty stinks. And they want you comfortable in poverty. See, this is a way of controlling a population. See, they always experimented with us first. And so they forced us after slavery to move into large cities so they could surround you and keep an eye over you, because they're going to eventually do that to the general white population as well. Now they're being observed. In New York City, you have these machines that are along 8th Avenue mostly, and there are cameras inside of them. And it was originally set up, maybe 3 years ago, they started popping up. And they're machines that have like a digital advertisements, but they sneak. Okay, we have to become a republic again. China is a republic. They thrive. Okay, yeah, yeah. This is a republic, a constitutional republic. But we're being seduced by the term democracy. Democracy means majority rule, but this is not majority rule. What happened? The election that happened was not majority rule. What happened with the election was a takeover of the what they call the cabal. You have a secret government. You have a governing body. The people probably they have we'll call it industry. You have people who have industry, in the form of technology, and they want to control the world, such as Bill Gates. Bill Gates was in technology, and look what he's doing now. He's promoting the vaccine around the world. And even though it's known that many people in Asia had died after they got the vaccine from him, it's still being pushed. He's not liked in certain places because they know they spot him out. So how could a man who's into computers and the computer software, how would he get? Why would he get involved in medicine? He's not a doctor. He's not an MD. He should just retire and just go to some place and enjoy, the tropics and drink coconut water. But see, that's not happening. He wants to control the planet. He is somebody whose own father was um, he was involved with the genetics or something, and he wants to do population control. So again, they want to fool. Okay, my battery. I hope my battery doesn't go down. A message just propped up on the screen that is low energy. So I hope it doesn't conk out right away. So I'll better start wrapping it up. Yeah, because I'm just going to go on and on and on. So again, you have people like Gates that want to exploit, and now it doesn't matter whether you live in a ghetto or in a nicer um, suburban area. The implementation, whether you have a college degree or not, uh, regardless of your race or religion or your sexual orientation, we're all under like a police state. And this Bill Gates, who was in technology and now is trying to act like he's a doctor and wants to impose these vaccines on people, on you, and in particular, people of color, because who in the United States are suffering the most from this coronavirus? But black people again. See that? You practice on black people. See, it's not by accident that we get it the worst. Even with AIDS, it didn't originate in Black America. It came from somewhere else. So you have people who are manipulating uh, viruses and bacteria and all these type of pathogens and are infecting populations. But it's always seems like the population that they want to get is you first. So, again, if they teach you not to like yourself, so I'm trying to wrap it all together now. So, again, what I'm trying to communicate is that, see, they get you first, they get you feeling resentful of yourself, resentful that if you see a successful black person with a job who has a college or a doctorate, call you a boule or whatever, you know. And then when someone who's a criminal or used to have a criminal past and something happens to them, there's all melee. And everybody riots in the street, and this other person may not have cared about human life. So it's like we're favoring that which really didn't contribute into this society, but people like Professor Gates who teach about Black history, and some people may not agree that Black people came from Africa. Well, some of us did come from Africa. So, those people who do come from Africa, he is promoting your history. Those people who believe they did not come from Africa, you have a right to teach people where you come from. So, get your college degree or get a YouTube channel and share the research you've done on this other history of Black people in America at the time of Columbus, who lived here. Talk about it, educate us all. But either way, there is a reversal of how you're treating one another, that what was considered valuable education, college, reading and writing, which was highly praised in history in Black America, is now being despised. The hip hop culture, the demise culture, the violent culture is being promoted as something positive and to be reached. We no longer care about our daughters. As I mentioned about De Blasio, look at her. She was arrested, and look what she looks like. What in the world happened to such a beautiful young lady? She looked possessed in the photo. Horrible. I feel really sad for her, and I'm not trying to mock her. I really hope she gets the help that she needs. My heart goes out to her. I feel her pain. Imagine being a black girl, but you have a white father, and it's a race rise going on. That's probably what's confusing her and making her feel like she has to act out in front of other black people to feel accepted. Girl lost her mind, in my opinion. I really feel for her. Please, I hope she overcome the trauma of being a biracial girl in America. But anyway, to try to close this up, so this reversal is happening in America, and blacks are violating other blacks and showing favoritism if you're a criminal type person versus a collegiate person who have contributed to the black community, who have maybe done what do you call it, volunteer work in the black community. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you bought sandwiches to the black people on the street, buying them toilet paper when they asked you to. It doesn't matter anymore. And I've done those things. And here I feel that I'm being um, to have a conservative edge to me is considered dirty in our community now. I don't feel safe in my black community to be to have conservative or to come from a background where I have an education. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling to feel like you're despised, yet you went out your way in your own way to try to communicate, to try to help uplift the community, the black community. So, all things said, we're stuck here at level one, at ground zero, I should say. And now it doesn't matter what our orientation anymore about family values. that helped us over the years, we decide to throw it out the window. And now you got people like Bill Gates that wants to uh, mandate us to get vaccines, and that I heard that many of us are on public assistance and food stamps, that you have to be vaccinated to get food stamps. So who's that targeting? It's targeting the poor. Who's poor? Who's the poorest group in America? Well, eventually it's going to hit all of us. It's designed for all of us. But again, blacks are used as the cover group for policies that's going to happen in America and worldwide. What's happened is going to be initiated worldwide. It's not just because of you. It's a global plan to destroy the planet. And so just be aware. Just be aware what's going on, and to take back your humanity. Take it back. Take back your pride. Take it back. They try to rob you of your pride. They're trying to rob your health. At one time, we knew about herbs and the plant life. And like I used to live in the Caribbean briefly, and I had people there used to come to me and tell me, oh, the grandmothers knew about the medicine, the plant medicines, and how to heal diseases, things like that. We got to get back to our roots, wherever where your roots are from, whether it's from Africa, indigenous America, it doesn't make a difference. Start tapping into that root, that deep root. Start loving yourself. We are beyond color. We're not a color. We are a spirit being. And we're living in this illusion of life. And that the illusion appears real because it feels solid. You can see it, but it's not real. It is deception. It's to trick you, to make you feel less than, because it's all about duality: black, white, yes, no, up, down. And it's this duality that's messing with our heads. Come to get to know yourself. Tap into your heart, your own humanity. Stay away from those drugs. Those drugs are infecting your mind to make decisions. You think de Blasio's daughter made a good decision? Look at her in the photo, in her mugshot. You think this person got it together? She is someone in pain. I only like Americans, the true natives, the copper colored people. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, look at it. Look at what's going on. The beautiful is becoming ugly, and the ugly is being perceived as beautiful. But the beauty is within your heart. Tap into your heart. Tap into your humanity, because things are going to get rougher. But fear not. See, they want you to be afraid, but fear not, because you are a force and a power to reckon with. You are someone that is so powerful that the system is going through all these tactics just to destroy you. It's just should reinforce in you how important you really are. Be aware of that. Grasp hold on of that truth, how powerful you really are as a people, as a humanity. We are humanity. We are not a color. You are a humanity. And they want you to believe that you are a color and the status. No, you are a human being. You are a living soul. And it is so prized that they're doing anything to destroy and control you, because this is a matrix system. This is a matrix system to zap your energy, to make your labor their energy. They are stealing your energy, and that's the whole point of this stuff. They want to be able to control you, so they want to destroy as much of you so, because you're getting out of control. Take back your control. Start loving yourself, the person you see in the mirror. Start loving your community. Start protecting your community. Stop twisting Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's words about um, judging by the character rather than the color of the skin. Start hiring your own. Start hiring your own. Start hiring your own. And you're going to find your economic power increase. Start hiring and loving your own. Those people who you hire, that black fellow, those Mexicans that, and again, it's not an anti-Mexican thing, but those people who he hires 100 Mexicans for his tree cutting business. How many of those people hire or feed or clothe any of us? Do we go into their country and ask for handouts? We don't do that. People don't like us because, we don't like ourselves. So they say, hey, this guy's hiring people outside of his own. We don't even like this guy. We don't like this black fellow. But we're going to take what he has and then we're going to have our own business and we're going to hire our own. So, why don't black people remind those Mexicans or people who act like those individuals' behaviors? So, it's not about nationality, it's about individuals who made a collective decision to hire their own. There is nothing wrong hiring your own. I just wish that Black America would realize this because why all these other groups are doing better because you're not hiring your own. Hire your own and have an honest business. Have an honest business. Have integrity. Stop just being someone who goes to church and just clap their hands and sing a song. Start believing in the words, in the principles about loving yourself, loving and wishing well to the people in your home and in your community because they are. It's going to be another lockdown, right? You have to come together. They want you to fight each other and kill each other. Come together instead. Those of you who are still able to go to church, start networking, and start something grassroots level of what you're going to do if when they cut the food source out, they're going to start hoarding the food. Where are you going to get your food source from? Where are you going to get your water from? All these things should be discussed. So maybe your churches could start, members of your church start bringing in supplies so that those members, I'm not talking about strangers, those official members of your congregation come together so you'll be able to protect one another. So each person has their own skills and their own resources, and you can bring them in together to share in times of emergency. That's what I foresee, that there's going to be a challenge. And some of you do have churches or whatever. Start networking. Start doing something. Um, all of us. So yes, so you're not alone, and it's never really an end. See, don't we really don't die. We just change form. We are eternal souls, and they want to scare us to make us think that this physical existence we're living is all that is real, but it's not. This physical existence is just a small parcel of what does exist. There are multi universes. multi parallel worlds. They are existence that live alongside us. And I do meditations at times, and I've had experiences and seen things. And as I mentioned many times, uh, last year when it was my birthday, I had seen a beautiful orb. And this it lasted for maybe no more than 15 seconds. I only saw that one time. It was a brilliant white orb about the size of a marble. And it seemed to have conscious awareness to it, if that makes sense. And then it vanished. And I think it came to me because I was upset at the time. I was watching a movie on the internet, and it's a very emotional movie to me. I watched it many times, and I feel this thing came to me to comfort me. And when that thing appeared, it then reinforced to me that this world is not the only world. The physical world that you see is not the only world. And you are being observed by all types of beings out there, visible and the invisible. And they want to manipulate you, to scare you, to make you feel like you're a nobody. Because, like the movie The Matrix, they want to zap your energy. Fear is an energy, and you have some life forces that feed off of energy, negative energy like fear, like sadness, like rage and anger, those unchecked emotions. Just notice the music that they play now. What does it evoke in you? It evokes fear, anger, lust. All these are negative, low vibration um, energies that these creatures feed off of. That's what they want to, that's the energy that they want to harvest. So all like what's happening now, these creatures, these dimensionals, are probably setting up this COVID fear to put you in fear mode because they need more energy. So don't give it to them. Don't give them your energy. So start maybe sing happy songs, exercise, do these things that elevate yourself. Okay, do those things and overcome these challenges that are coming, that will come to you. But you are powerful. You are loved, and you are eternal. You never really fully die. You may your birthday suit may go, but your spirit is eternal, and it will seek other consciousness, will move in other conscious realms of existence. Choose the realm that you want. Choose a realm that is one of love and peace. Okay? Wish that for yourself. Wish that for your family. Wish that for your community. Wish that for your country. Wish that for all humanity on this planet. Yeah, all those things. And start seeing your world turn around. Okay? I thank you all for participating in this live stream. I apologize for the screen. um, Again, certain topics, when you talk about, all of a sudden it shuts down, right? It shuts down. But I'm glad that the audio is on. So, again, thank you all for contributing to this live stream. Stay well, stay happy, love yourself. When you next time you see a mirror, go to that mirror and say, I love you. That you love the reflection in the mirror. When you love yourself, only then could you really love humanity. and love the planet. Love nature. Love nature. Go out in nature. Go on if you have a park and if it's safe to do so, go to the park. Get some fresh air. They don't want you to have fresh air. Yeah, I wanted to see your pretty face. Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet for you to say that. Yeah, yeah. The screen went. It froze. This is uh not the first time this happened, so I apologize. But you got to hear my voice. You got to hear my voice, and you can watch the video that I posted yesterday. I think it's up. It's been taken a long time now for YouTube to upload the live streams of mine. It could take up to 15 or 20 hours sometime. So I would imagine this one's going to be even longer to take, but it's all good. You can always do like you know, if you didn't see the beginning, you can um, scroll it to the very beginning of the live stream, and you'll be able to see the beginning of what I talked about. Yeah. Yeah. So I thank you, Pocahon and James and oh God, I apologize for other names. But I thank you all. You're all very important to me in these live streams. You make it exciting for me doing it. It's nice to talk to people, and it's nice to learn from other people as well. So you get out there, out and about. Take care of your body, love your body, stay away from those nasty drugs, things like that. Um, Teach yourself a little skill, learn how to maybe do a little sewing, make your own soaps, make your own jewelry, make things. Teach yourself little things, and it'll help build up your confidence. We all need confidence building. It's nice when you know how to make something. Okay, so I thank you again, and I'll be continuing doing as many live streams as I can. Yeah, my neck is still bothering me. I have a neck pain, um, being on these devices and stuff like that, but it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so stay well, stay safe, and get to know yourself. Get to know that you really are a true human being, okay? Thank you again. Peace and love and safety to all of us, okay? Bye bye.